Okay. All right, round 2. Okay. Wait.
We're so excited today. We're going to show you how to do our little fold-up dollhouse. This is a quilt store.
It's called, we named it Button Lane Book, and it's the same size as our other dollhouse panel we've done, so all the pieces can
Interchange.
thank you.
So this is what it looks like on your panel when you buy it, and we are going to get started and cut all the rooms out and show you how to do it.
All right.
You'll need the following to make the dollhouse book: the Shop Hop Button Lane panel, 2 10-inch pieces of ribbon, a piece of felt at least 8 by 10 inches, Pellon 808, and to make trimming the rooms easier, we recommend a 12.5 by 12.5 inch ruler. What we'll do first is roughly cut around each L-shape room. And now we are going to cut our Pellon. We need 4 pieces of Pellon about 13 inches square. The Pellon is going to be fused to the room fronts. So as you can see, we've left the labels on after we've cut them so we don't get confused. And so our iron doesn't stick, we are going to cut out this corner of Pellon. We are going to do this for each of the 4 room fronts. Now we are going to square up each room. We recommend using a 12.5 inch square ruler so the center of the ruler can line up directly over the little brown dot that's found on each room. Once it's lined up and the diagonal lines are about the corners, then you can cut around each of the 4 sides. Now we are going to square up this corner. We are going to measure 6.25 inches from the edge of the fabric that we just trimmed to that small center brown dot. We are going to trim that edge right until that dot not going any further. And we always recommend double checking your measurements before you cut. And we are going to trim exactly the same way on that other wall. We're going to repeat these steps for each of the room fronts. We're careful to keep the labels with the rooms just so we don't get confused later when we're matching up room fronts and backs. If we didn't hit that small dot with our rotary blade, we're going to go in with scissors and clip it straight to that dot, remove the fabric so it becomes a perfect L-shaped room. Now we are going to square up our room backs in the same way. You'll find a little dot on each room and the guidelines to help. You'll want to make sure your corners are lined up the same way. Cut along those same edges with your ruler and then measure 6.25 from the edge of the fabric to that dot. A quick note, room A and D backs have the village covers, and rooms B and C will look identical. We're going to repeat these steps for each of the room backs. Now we are ready to attach the room fronts to the room backs. First, on the cover or on the room A and room D backs, we are going to attach the ribbon. The ribbon is helpful to tie the book closed for storage and open for play. So we are going to take 1 10-inch piece of ribbon and carefully pin it in place next to the heart on both room A and D backs and baste it in place. Working with the same room, we're going to place room A back and room A front right sides together. We're going to carefully tuck in the ribbon when we sew, and we are going to sew around each edge of this room. There are 2 small white dots marked on each of the room backs to indicate when to stop and start, so there's a small opening to turn it out. We like to mark this with a pin, and now we will sew around this with a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now that it's sewn, we are going to clip this inside corner carefully, not to hit the seams. We're going to trim each corner and carefully turn it right side out. We like to use a chopstick to carefully push out all the corners. Once you have turned it right sides out, you'll press it and whip stitch the opening shut. Repeat this for all 4 rooms. The applique pockets are double-sided, so each applique pocket has a front and a back. To make the pocket, we will cut them out, place them right sides together. Leaving a small opening, we're going to sew a scant 1/4 inch around each piece, turn right side out, and whip stitch, press and whip stitch closed. To attach the applique pockets, we're going to locate the black line on each room, place the pocket directly over the black line, and sew a straight stitch along the edge, leaving the top open for storage and play. Repeat for each room. Each room has 1 pocket. Now that all of our rooms are done, we are going to fold and crease them so the book folds nicely. Unfortunately, we didn't get a clear video of this step, so I made a diagram to help show more clearly. The black lines indicate the fold lines. Fold the wall towards the floor, creating a crease along the bottom edge. Now turn over and fold the walls together, wrong sides together, to create a diagonal crease along the floor. Stitch along all 3 fold lines so the book can fold and unfold easily. Fold each room in the same manner. Now we're ready to assemble the rooms themselves together. We're going to take this quilt shop room and line it up with the cafe. We're going to do the pocket rooms together, and we're going to do a little zigzag stitch across the top of the ceilings to attach these rooms together. Next, we are going to attach the other 2 rooms together, the outdoor room and the sewing room, by doing a zigzag stitch across the tops of both of the pocket rooms. Now that those are complete, we will attach both U-shaped pieces together. The cover sides, rooms A and room D, have the ribbons, and we will not be attaching those rooms together, only the sewing room and the cafe, in the same manner, sewing a zigzag across the ceiling. You do not want to sew the cover pieces together, as that will form the front and back of the book. Now we are going to carefully sew each room together. We're going to bring the matching walls from each room, and we are going to sew on the inside part of the circle a scant seam. We are going to do this for each of the rooms. Once your dollhouse is propped up like this, you can see that it needs a little extra support. So we are going to bring these rooms together and sew a scant seam right along this edge. We're doing this for each of the rooms except for the cover pieces. This will stabilize the dollhouse for a bit more support. Last but not least, we will make the felt backed pieces. We are going to place all these pieces on an 8 by 10 inch piece of felt, and we are going to stitch right inside that black line. After sewing, we're going to carefully cut out on the black line. Careful not to cut the stitching. This creates all the little tiny play pieces. Now that we have all of our little pieces cut, they can go and store right inside this book. Perfect.
Perfect. And then this side,
Yeah.
and the little birdie.
Yeah. There you go. And all your pieces can store in all of these little applique pockets. And then when you're ready to close it up, we'll just fold up the floors and tie shut. Okay. Thanks for watching.